5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 2 of the new season of Film Junkies podcast. Why are you laughing already? He's already laughing at me. You do the intro.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, boys, welcome. On my left, I have Tim Roche, newbie to the podcast. Welcome, Tim.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, and Dave, who we couldn't get rid of.
Sorry, I just wouldn't leave.
We nearly tried to stop the air coach that he would bring it down from. We tried to slash the tires and
back from Dublin. I was like, I wouldn't miss this.
Couldn't get rid of him, so here we are. Well, welcome back, Dave. So, Tim, do you want to tell us about yourself? Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. As I say, I'm a relatively new actor to film. I've been doing community theatre for the last 11 years, and it's quite a different experience to film acting, I must say. But I'm learning a lot, and just by watching other people apply their trade, you end up picking up a couple of things. But there's always need for instruction.
I'd imagine it's tough to when you've done theatre for so long. It's tough to switch the camera, especially if you said like you've done theatre when you were younger as well. You said you were.
The first play I ever did was
back in the early 2000s, like
1986.
Celtic Tiger time.
1986.
Good times.
My Fair Lady.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And I landed the only non-singing part, which is perfect for me.
I thought you said non. I was like,
did you sing?
So yeah, changing the camera. That must have been It must be tough because I know we were in the same course, and you're told a lot of the time to just naturally dial it down a bit.
Yeah.
Which it must be hard to do if you've been theatre for so long. Like I've only done screen, so all I know is that subtlety.
Yeah.
Whereas I know you've done takes before where you'll be told to do it subtly, and then you just naturally do it, and it's not your fault. It's just all you've known. So yeah, there is, like we were saying on the last episode, that difference between presence and the little bits the camera can pick up is so there's a fine line between it.
And with film, it's less is more.
Less is more.
Yeah. He was saying that as well. Yeah. And Dave has done a fair bit of theatre as well, and a fair bit of screen as well. We've done a film recently.
I dabble between the two.
Yeah, he's got headshots done now.
Finally,
after about 24 years. You finally got headshots?
Finally got it done. 24 years coming.
They actually looked very good as well.
Thank you. They were great.
They were very There were the headshot, the body shot, and then there was different like variations. So it was really like, obviously you don't want headshots to make you look like, you don't want to be like sticking your tongue out in them and like doing a funny face. You want it to be serious.
Of course, now Dave, you realise you have got to commit to that head.
I've got to kind of
commit to the head.
I have to kind of keep that going. But I remember it was something I always wanted to do.
Headshots.
Yeah. Eventually, I was like, but. I had to do them in Tala because I live in Dublin now, and I didn't realise how far out Tala was.
He lives in Dublin.
I know. Just off the air coach, just saying,
He's Dynamite with the boys.
D4, But and I was pretty hungover as well. I remember I thought I was going to have to miss it. But,
I think that could help with the aesthetic of like looking serious. You look annoyed with
the first few before he did like the colour correction. I really looked dead. I was like, oh God, that's like great job with the photographs, but I just looked
yourself. You look like that for the next 20 years.
I was like, oh God, I just looked pissed off as well.
I mean, the struggle of having headshots is that you do have to commit to that look for a certain amount of time. Like when I asked Darren, our acting coach, about headshots and so how often do you have to get them renewed, and it is every 2 or 3 years. They're expensive to get done as well, but when you get them done, you are committing to that look for a while.
It's an investment,
and then I know it is headshots are designed to make you show what you look like, but if you decide to get your haircut or you decided to get a spray tan, I don't know what.
And when you get older, weight gain is a big one.
I think
weight a lot easier, and you look quite different from one month to the next.
I think but didn't he said something that if the older you are, the less you have to change your headshots because you look the same.
Well, your body doesn't follow that instruction.
I was like, if I'm
just
younger,
the shoulders up,
like 1 year I might have a mohawk, the next year I might have like a buzz cut.
Please get a mohawk, Dave. I think it would suit you.
It really wouldn't. Trust me. Well, I'm from Bandon, so it actually might.
Oh, right, Bandon Mafia. Yeah.
There you go. So one thing I wanted to talk about was, obviously we're in the same course. You started doing script writing. Basically, we both started studying, or putting some form of money into gaining skills about methods and writing and techniques. I think I had this bias before I started studying actors where I didn't need to go studying. It's like you can just make films to enough to the point that'll get you. So one thing will lead you to the next. So it's like if I make a load of films, it should give me enough experience to move up to the next level, and so on and so forth. There's a distinct line between unpaid independent work and you're represented constant casting call paid stuff. And I think that line is represented by your techniques, who you've studied.
Yeah.
And you can only get that by studying. You can only get that by learning. You can't just sit down and learn about, I can't go up to a casting director and say, oh, but I sat down for like an hour and I read about Stanislavski, and I read about Meisner, so surely I'm qualified. You need to be certifiedly qualified. So I had that arrogance where I was like, or bias and arrogance. I was like, oh, I don't need to train. I can just do a load of films and then hopefully get somewhere. But then I'm relying on hope then. And then I go for these like castings in Dublin, or for the auditions for these big feature films, and I knew I wasn't going to get them. I was going up anyway. I knew I wasn't getting them. But I went up to thinking, oh, I've done a lot of films, maybe they'll like me. If you don't have certified representation and certified studies, it's very tough. And I think with Activision, I'm starting to learn loads about that. I don't know about you, because obviously he tells us all about casting agents, how they work, the ties and relationships they have, how people sometimes email casting directors looking for representation, that their representation, and then that looks bad on their behalf. How like you can be too oppressive with casting directors, being like, oh, emailing them every week, being like, is there any audition for this? And just for that, you can be kind of annoying to them. So it's been great insight.
I think for me, it's almost like an apprenticeship. It's the difference between, blagging your way along or being brought into a community, where there's a kind of a structure and a set of norms.
Into the loop,
Yeah, you're in the loop, you're in the know, you're in the mix, people know you. And sure, we all know like that's how you get work is by referrals, and somebody vouching for you. I mean, that's really,
because they always think that like, oh, having representation having connections is a big thing, and it is important, knowing people, being friends with people. But I think if you're talking about having connections to get you into a film, you got to be up on that high level of that scale of your Denzels or your Julia Roberts, those kind of people that can just literally wake up one morning and phone a director saying, can I be in a film? And they're like, and they write a script for that actor.
For that person,
We are a fair bit away from that, I'd say.
A little bit.
I mean, in the last year, to be fair,
why aren't you telling us, Tim?
In the last year, to be fair, you didn't have any headshots done. You weren't really pursuing acting.
No.
I didn't know you.
Yeah.
And in the last year, this happened. So it's actually surprising how quickly you can make connections if you just push yourself forward to do Activision or plays that we dropped out of.
It's exactly about that. Put yourself forward.
That's totally. And I think with Activision and the course we're doing, it is very much based. A lot of it is just get the nerves part was the big thing for me. Just like it's just your first course you're studying. Yeah. And I think he puts us in a lot of situations that test our nerves, if anything, to get over them, so that when we do another take, the nerves are gone and we can focus on it. I don't know how you feel, but that's...
It's definitely check the ego at the door and just go in there and be prepared to do anything.
Literally.
Absolute fool.
Take a fair bit of criticism as well.
And suck it up, exactly.
I think that brutal kind of... that brutal instinct where you're... accepting criticism quite a lot is good though, because you don't want somebody to come in and pat you on the back saying, you remembered the line and you did a good screen, well done, pat on the back, there's your cert.
But it's amazing the whole thing of direction. I mean, if you just think of this as direction, not criticism, it changes your attitude to the whole thing. So you got headshots done and you emailed Louise Kiley recently.
I did.
But then again, that just shows though that you got headshots done. You email Louise Kiley, and within 2 or 3 weeks, you're already making those small little moves forward. That where you want to be. I know you probably want to pursue screen though, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Some maybe somewhere down the line.
Well, he's damn good on stage, is all I can tell you.
Please hire me. Oh, thanks, Tim. No, I don't. Yeah, that was. I've probably done more theatre though. I think I've only done like 2 or 3 short films. I remember what we did one in.
I'm in all of them with you, I'm sure.
Yeah. But yeah, there's kind of benefits to both. Yeah, I think.
So tell me about this legendary, incredible play that I hear about all the time.
All the time. Never shut up about it.
You guys. Now I know we talked about theatre in the last episode, but this is mainly based around how productions can mess up, because you guys have stories for us, or a story and stories that you're saying. About the importance of being earnest. RT covered it at one stage.
Yeah,
It
that
on the
was.
news. I remember seeing your big face on it.
Oh, it's
And
funny. I did
His
not.
big fluorescent clothes. And he'd his hand wave that
No,
way.
honestly,
his tea mug.
Yeah, sure, cucumber salad. Yeah, I didn't expect me to be in it at all. I thought, like I'd probably end up in like 1 second at the end. But then literally the first shot, it was me coming out, and I was like, oh my
man
god,
was, yeah.
and I was like red in the face and
Yeah.
everything, and I was like, oh god.
It was
But,
Pascal Sheehy, actually.
yeah, it was.
I think it was on the
Really
six
nice
ones.
guy, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
believe it or not, I don't religiously watch the 6-1 news.
Yeah, yeah.
But, my mother, I was upstairs in my room. I was on my laptop,
Yeah.
and she roared at me. And irrelevant to the RT news, she roared at me because I was doing something wrong. But I ended up going downstairs anyway.
Yeah.
And she called me in, and it was your face on the
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
So
Of course,
yeah,
the
it's
big
good.
story there was that it was in the middle of COVID. Like,
Literally.
we just
Oh, that
grabbed
was-
this
saying.
window.
Yeah.
I was saying about Leon, like with
Yeah.
School of Music doing their project and then you guys doing this play, it is very well covered because it's that rarity that's going on at the moment.
Well, there was kind of.
And you guys did it in front of an audience.
We
We
did,
did,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
which
huge.
was insane
How
to
many
me.
nights did we get? Was it 3?
I was three.
3, I think.
Three,
yeah.
I think. Yeah, 3 or. I think it might have been 4 actually. I
Okay.
think it was 4. Yeah, but
You probably did so many you can't remember.
And
Yeah.
and we're reprising it again.
Yeah, yeah.
This year.
Without me, unfortunately,
Yes.
I'm in Dublin.
He's
yes.
Dublin now. He's a Dublin actor.
Yeah,
Just don't go
yeah.
near his ego.
Yes,
He's got
you know.
headshots. He lives in Dublin.
Yeah,
Just-
no, it's a shame.
He's part of that clique.
But
He's crossed the Rubicon.
crossed it. Yeah, I'm gone now. That's it. Yeah, no coming back.
Up
But
to the fake capital boy.
yeah, I remember though when I started hearing about it, Fionnuala, who I worked with the UCC players, she was involved with that, and it was funny that day. It was like early June, I think. I followed that terrible trend of might as well, we're in lockdown, I'll shave my head kind of thing, right?
Games have a skin
Yeah,
fix. So
literally.
funny.
No, I didn't mean to. I kind of was like, oh, I'll just do like a 2 or 3, and I used like I used a beard trimmer for some reason. I was like, oh, and then I had to end up shaving the whole thing off, and I was like, oh god, this is horrible.
I'll never forget
And
the group chat.
yeah, and I was like, yeah, it was. I was like, look, it's COVID. It'll grow back in 2 or 3 months. It's not like a play is coming up that I might be in, which is fine. That would require me to have a head of hair. And literally that night, Fionnuala sent me an email. The Fionnuala Doyle, our director, and she said, "Oh, I'm thinking of putting on the importance of being earnest. And
Well, shit.
love you to audition for Algernon." And I was like, oh shit.
These are the situations that only he would find
Literally,
himself in.
and I was kind of like, I don't think I can grow a head of hair in 3 months, but there you go.
I was the opposite. I'm normally bald, but I was pissed off because I had to leave
Yeah,
my
I
hair
remember that.
grow out.
I didn't
and I
recognize
had
him.
mutton chops.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him there because he didn't have the mutton chops. I was like, Tim, is that you? kind of thing.
I didn't know the both of you had hair problems at the same
We're
time.
the opposite.
But it was funny.
That was mad, though.
Fionnuala won't mind me telling this story. It was so funny.
We just
like,
email Fionnuala.
yeah, a week later when we did the auditions through Zoom at the time because we were still in lockdown, and she didn't know I shaved my head. She had no clue, and she was thinking, "Oh, he's basically Oscar Wilde Algernon, and he has like long lumps of hair, kind of thing." And at the time, she thought I still had long hair, and I was like, "Oh God, I don't know how to break it to her." And so I started the Zoom call, and she was like, "Well," and then she kind of stopped halfway. She was like, What happened to your hair? And I was like, I don't have the part, God.
You could have told her this is Oscar,
Yeah, I was
the
like,
jail years.
Yeah,
That actually, that happened to Chris Wally when he got the Young Offenders.
Yeah.
And he went to audition for RADA.
Oh, that's right,
And
yeah.
they'd started shooting Young Offenders. So he
Yeah.
went in with the sketchiest baz ever. And he was going into RADA.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
he's going to RADA,
these guys
too.
have, if they saw that baz, the questions would be
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah, yeah.
And there were. But he just started filming the movie.
Mm.
And he went in and he had to explain it. But that's funny. Just
Yeah.
imagine. But yeah, I mean, committing to a look, with hair and headshot and stuff.
Oh
is-
yeah,
it is a check.
it's strange.
I'm glad I'm getting new ones done now soon
Yeah.
as well. Like we and you both are,
Yeah.
so we can
Yeah.
commit to a look for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, so they get like a neck tattoo or something.
That must have been strange for you though, with the chops, because I suppose.
Oh, I was going to business meetings like with
like,
these
what
turn
what's
of
that
the
about?
century whiskers.
I can imagine we're in the workplace. It would be sketch. That reminds me of that time that I set my dad's phone ringtone to Borat, and he was in a big Diageo business call, and his phone went
Gross
off.
stash, yeah.
And Borat went off, and it was like that you have new text message on. I can't remember what it goes, but I remember
Well,
he went.
that's nearly as bad as my friend changing my phone text to Thai. Can you imagine? How do you get out of this?
Yeah.
So yeah, films. What I was
Yeah.
gonna say. So what's your story about? I want to hear the story, the funny story about when you're performing with
God.
COVID and stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, the funny thing was, we were having a great time doing it. Like we didn't have a set place to do rehearsals at the time. So what we were doing is we were driving from house to house, pretty much 3 days a week. And we were making the best of it, but there was kind of a feeling. I remember I used to say to Tim, I was like, "Oh, we're having great crack doing a rehearsal for a play that may or may kind of thing."
In somebody's living room.
I remember used to keep him updated.
Yeah. And I remember my head used to kind of bash against the chandelier sometime. I was there, kind of prancing into the room, and I was like, "Oh, mine." Yeah, but I remember, I was like, we were kind of going day to day, looking at the news, thinking, we could go into another lockdown any day now and this might get pulled. But thankfully we stuck it through and we got there, and it was a great time,
It's great to do it in front of people.
It's
great to do it in front of the audience.
Intimidating.
Because I know if you don't know that Liam was on, he did it, they pre-recorded it and they performed theatre in front of a camera.
Right.
Strange.
Very strange.
So it's not something
strange.
You can.
It was the first time I did a stage play that actually wasn't video recorded at one stage.
Really? Yeah. That's a shame.
It's a pity we didn't record it, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's a really great thing to be able to go back and look at, if you can bear looking at yourself, which I can't.
Yeah. I know you can't.
I can't bear looking at myself.
We had to do in Actors, and we had to do this bit where we had to sing and dance in one segment, and I remember the week after I went to you and I was like, "Oh, did you look at the tapes?" And he was like, "Could I fuck look at those tapes?" Not a chance.
It's weird. I think with screen acting, I can bear to look at myself acting, but if looking back at theatre recordings of me, I can't. I'm like, no.
I'd agree with that.
Even the RCE thing, I had to turn it off or fast forward through my bit. I was like, no, can't. No,
I think it's because
I see as mistakes.
Are you saying you don't look back at it in post? So if a film comes out that you're in, you'd rather watch that instead of a play you're in?
Yeah, I think with a film I'm okay.
Because I think if most of the time if you're watching yourself on a camera, it's actually while you're filming on set, so you can look at what you're doing and see if you're anything different.
And as well as that,
theatre, it's one go.
Yeah, and when you're on camera, everyone is rooting to make you look as good as possible.
That's true.
Whereas on stage, it's you.
It's just
and
you.
There's no direction other than you just
that's
don't
true. There's no lighting or framing or
anything
anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you often see the actors look a lot different off camera, which is obvious because the film,
it
was obviously designed to make them look good.
Yeah.
I obviously you got what's the come on,
but
I need the story because you guys built it up as if it was.
Oh yeah, well, it was. Yeah.
Wait, what were you gonna say? Sorry?
You were asking about screw ups, isn't that what you were?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please. I want to know.
We all have those.
Only because I'm looking from the outside in.
Well, let me tell you the first, the biggest one. No, it's not the biggest one, but one of the weirdest ones that happened to me is the first main stage play I was in, really, apart from the ones that I'd done in secondary school.
Right.
And it was in a small community
10 years ago,
but about 100 people there, right? Yeah. And I was playing this character who was a love-struck farmer, and he had 2 women chasing him, right? And he was totally inept. He was a gormless twit, right? But there was one line in it. I was rushing around saying that I had to finish ploughing the field because I had to give the plough back to my neighbour, Matty or whatever. And then that was grand. Later in the play, anyway, I was on the couch and there was this woman making kind of, she was a rather buxom lass and she was making some moves on me, And next thing, I had to have my phone with me for a particular setup, right? Later on, the phone rang in the middle of this, right? The steamy bit, right? And I couldn't ignore it, so I answered the phone and I said, "I'll have your plough back to you in about 2 hours, man."
Just 2 seconds. Working into the scene kind of thing.
And it was my brother ringing me from America.
Was it like a period piece where their phones?
No, the phone would have been part of a scene later on.
Right,
that's why I had the phone, but do not bring your phone. There's actually, I found out yesterday, there's actually a set of telephone numbers that are reserved for actors. For plays and things. Did you know that?
No,
I didn't.
Yeah.
Jeez, I can't imagine what your brother said after that.
All he wanted to know was, how,
he knew.
Shoot the breeze. Yeah, he knew actually.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's so funny. I didn't know that. No, I can't be. I've known you for that long. You haven't told me that story. That's mad.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best differences. Like with film, you can kind of just make mistakes and it's fine. But with theatre, if you make a mistake, you see where you go with it. You'll be having sleepless nights about it, kind of thing.
Unless you can erase memories, that's the editing process right there.
Can't cut that out. No, too late. But I had. There's one big one I'll get to in a minute. But I had 2 on the importance of being earnest. One of which was I'm not sure if anyone noticed, but my character had to eat cucumber. You remember I had to eat cucumber sandwiches, and I had to do it in a certain time frame, and I was always conscious of, I don't want to talk while I'm saying my lines, kind of thing. And I had to have them all done before like everyone else came on stage. I was in the scene with Pierce, and I remember I can't remember if it was the tech rehearsal or if it was actually the first night, but I remember I realized I have literally 10 seconds to eat these 2 sandwiches and I haven't done it yet. So what I did was, I don't know how, but I managed to stick them in the couch behind me when I was sitting behind. So I was like, yeah, so tell me about that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't think anyone noticed.
Because because you are like, sorry, were you going to finish?
No.
I was saying because you are the most naturally awkward person I've ever met.
I'm fairly awkward, not gonna lie. Yeah.
I can imagine you just make like all that shimmy and the shimmy, like that's definitely going on.
You put it that way. The worst thing though that happened to me is actually I had to eat on stage like this. Now it's a nightmare. There's so many, and next thing there was just me and this female actress on stage. And it was a fairly serious scene, like and I was sitting down eating my dinner, and I had to eat the dinner. Yeah. Right? And next thing I got this tickle in my throat and I started choking. I mean, literally, I was, like that. And the actress looked over at me. Next thing, she was a really experienced actress. She just got this glass of water and she just gave it to me like that and threw it back. And she said, "Jesus, would you slow down and stop?
Slow down, yeah.
Eat your food."
Yeah, that's where I think that enjoyment, those moments, you can't get that in film though, because if you do that, well, you can obviously do it in film. But in theatre, you've no choice.
No,
that's the thing.
A director will either stop you or you can just come out of the scene. But theatre, there's no one else except you on there. So you do have to
and you have to stick 100% or as much as possible to the script. You can't do any improv whatsoever. Otherwise, you're going to throw off someone.
I think. With I just picturing you with the awkwardness. That's fine.
Well, the biggest one I had was. Oh God, I'm pretty sure I've told you this story. I was involved in Dramat in UCC when I was in college there, and I was doing a short. I was part of the short play fest. It was a good play. I was playing like a depressed kind of teacher kind of thing. That's the kind of vibe I have apparently. But yeah, I was playing I only had like 1 or 2 lines in it, and there was the main scene in it is basically. The whole shtick is I'm trying to open a can of Pringles and I can't get the can open, kind of thing. That's kind of the whole shtick of the scene, yeah. And then I run off crying. That's kind of what that's what it amounted to. But anyway, that particular night, it was the 3rd night. All the plays before us, no one was laughing. It like it happens. Like some nights you get a dead audience, kind of thing.
Some nights they're laughing.
Yeah. And
it's touch and go.
We're really nervous. We're like, guys, we have to really like amp up all of the comedy scenes. We have to like get this going, kind of thing. And I was kind of nervous for my scene. I was like, right, I'm going to really like hammer home and whack the can of Pringles against this bench I'm sitting on, right? And the person in the props, she just quickly gave me the can of Pringles before I walked out. And the other 2 or 3 nights before that, it was an empty can. But I remember that night, I was like, this feels full, but it's not, it can't be. And so when I went on stage and I was doing the shtick, everyone was laughing. I was like, this is great, people are loving this. This is getting the laughs. So I kept going. And you can guess what happened. The can exploded. Pringles went everywhere on the stage. Everywhere. And my 2 cast members were like, oh no. And they played. It was funny because I got away with it there because everyone in the audience I talked to afterwards, they actually thought that was part of the scene. It was just meant to happen, kind of thing. Okay. Until... you see, there was another play after us, which was it was really good, but it was a very serious, like horror serial killer kind of thing.
Were the Pringles involved now?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
No, but you see, for somehow they didn't sweep up the Pringles afterwards. So the whole time we were hearing like people sidestepping through the Pringles, and you could hear the occasional like crunch and all that. Yeah, literally. It's like the director of the play, she loved it. She thought it was great. It added to it, but I don't think the other director was too pleased. I can say that, but yeah, it was not my finest moment on stage.
What do they call that in film again? There's a saying where if something comes up and you can use it in the film.
A blooper?
Oh, I can't remember the name of it. something opportunity or something. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, that's funny. They play that went after you used
Yeah.
that.
Because I was kind of frozen when it happened. I was like, okay, played like this happened, and I had to like run off stage. And yeah, I think people did buy it. I talked to people afterwards, and they're like, oh, we thought that was part of the act until.
The thing is to keep going.
Yeah.
And don't look surprised.
No,
you know?
don't.
And I think there's no moments that you can train for those moments. Those moments test you. And I think the more it happens to you, the more used to them. Like if you're saying, oh, he's a very experienced actor. He like say if it happened to you and you're playing opposite a very experienced actor, and you think, oh, he played it off well because he's a really good actor. It's not he's a really good actor. He's probably been in that situation 10 or 15 times because he's done so much acting before. Because it naturally happens. So yeah, I think the more you go through it, it's like making a mistake. You learn from it.
Yeah.
You don't look at it and say there's a mistake. The more you do it, the more naturally you're like, if it happened to you again, you'd be like, oh, I know what to do here. And then you take the other person that might not be as experienced as you, and you just take them with you, and they go with you. So yeah, it is down to experience and how you play
it is more or less, yeah. You kind of have to just go with it. Don't look back. Just keep going. Make it look part of the scene. Like, if you can make that phone call look part of that scene, that's, I mean, that's...
And I don't know how I happened, because I was really inexperienced. I don't know how I got away with it.
Did people, like, start laughing and
They
everything?
just took it as if it was part of the play.
Jesus.
You should have seen the one that was making advances on me.
Yeah, I don't think...
Isn't it mad though? You could trick the audience with that though, small like that. Like your brother from America rang you.
I was raging at him afterwards. Sure, how does he know?
But none of that is ever taken into account then by the audience. They think they're here to see a show, so everything happens on the stage of the show. So you are in that bubble where you can fool them completely.
But one of the worst things that can happen to you is when somebody feeds you a bum line.
Is that an ad-lib?
Yeah.
Where it's like you're trying to restart the dialogue.
You recalibrate, or they jump a scene or something like that. I was in a play one time. I forgot to actually make a phone call. And the next thing I know, people are rushing on stage with stuff. I was in a hotel, Mary, ordering a change of clothes, you see, and I'd forgotten to make the call. So somebody had to invent a reason to bring me clothes.
No, that's... I think that's the scariest thing when you're in a play, when you kind of have one designated job to do in the scene, even if you're not... Like, there was one... I was in the... I can't even... What was it? Lee Side Story. I was in... And I played the bartender in that. And
was that when you... I think you told me the story.
Yeah, probably. And I had like one line where I had to talk about greyhound racing, and I was like, none of this... I literally don't know what I'm talking about, but I'll get through it. That was like my one big paragraph line in it. And I got through that. I was like, grand. But it was kind of great actually, because I was in nearly the whole play and I was in the middle of the bar, but like I didn't have to say anything, so it was like I was on stage with none of that pressure until the end when my character had to open a champagne bottle. And going on stage, I realised I'd actually never opened a champagne bottle before in my life.
Kind of a necessity.
And they were just like, here you go. I was like, wait, what? It's like, you'll be fine. I was like, what if it hits an audience member? Like, nah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's grand. And I'm sure I couldn't get the thing open at the end.
What did you do in the end?
No, they just moved on with the scene. No one noticed. I got away with it. Like,
I was just there, like, I
was under the bar, like.
Oh, do you know what though? No, the situations that you get yourself into.
Yeah.
I guarantee
I'm not incompetent, I swear. Yeah.
I guarantee you, it would have popped off and it would have went right into the crowd and it would have smacked someone in the forehead and you'd have been, oh.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, that could have happened, all right, yeah, so I'd rather not open it.
You see, this is because when I asked
It's literally breaking the fourth wall.
Literally, yeah.
This is when I asked,
a bit too intense.
When I asked you guys about theatre, you always get the same reaction. That is a lot of fun. It's very presence based.
Yeah, it's more immersive.
Mess up. It's like a whole different life because you mess up, you enjoy it, you make friends, you practically become family. You learn loads of stuff. You get paid. People make a living off it. It's like an entire new life theatre. So it's something I'd love to try. But then with film, like as you said, we're doing the scene now this week or in next month, and he's obviously telling you to tone it down a bit.
Yeah.
Like, do you find that? How difficult do you find that to tone it down? Is it just a natural instinct for you to be naturally theatrical?
It's part of my recalibration, I suppose, that I'm coming from that space, and normally I'm quite an expressive person anyway. And
you're very boring, I think.
I am, but it's really trying to, I'm almost like getting myself to be more boring, and just really kind of projecting from a very silent or a very calm place, and it's very challenging,
especially for this character specifically you're doing. Because did you watch the Brooklyn Nine-Nine thing I told you?
Not yet, no. I was
because Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine is.
I haven't really watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Sorry, he's from Dublin.
Sorry, yeah.
He only watches like
At least he knew
whatever
about MASH.
At least he knows MASH, yeah.
The mash, I know mash.
We
exactly.
were deciding on a scene to do for our scene shoot, and he said he gave us from 9 to 10 o'clock to decide which one, and all the other groups went our ways, and two of us sat opposite each other, and we could have done. I'd say we listed off at least 20 films, 15 different TV shows, the Eurovision, and about 7 different families that we've some foreign connections to. We wrote, and we were like, because we could do either really comedic off kind of one-off dialogue, but then we could also do really subtle, serious
or drama.
Or so we were deciding which one to go with, but we'd so much stuff in mind. And by the time it got to 10 o'clock, he expected us to have a scene put down. Every other group had, and me and Tim were sat there sweating, thinking of movies, and
half of them he'd never heard of.
What? MASH was one of them. You told me about what was the one with the, or was MASH the one with the operating room?
Yeah, that's the field hospital.
That's what we're going to do. Yeah. There was a few that you said to me that I looked at when I got home, and to be honest, in the total time that I looked at what we noted down, I'd say the sun had come up. Honest to God. Do you know when it's so early, you hear the birds chirping and you can start to see it beyond the horizon? I remember sitting in my room and looking at all this stuff because we had to pick a scene. It couldn't be iconic. And none of these shows were iconic, to be fair.
But not in this generation.
No,
we sat down and we looked at each other like, were we supposed to have something picked? We just wrote down like 50 different films or TV shows that we think of. And all the other groups had their scenes decided. We sat there like twats.
The Odd Couple was the other one. Do you remember the...
Yeah. Is that the Robin Williams one?
No, that's Good Will Hunting.
No, but there wasn't the one with Robin Williams plays the quite serious character. And then there's another fella at the dinner.
The Odd Couple.
The scene at the dinner. Is it The Odd Couple?
No, The Odd Couple is the two boys sharing the apartment, and one fella's a slob and the other guy is...
But then you told me there was another one
Neil
where Robin
Simon,
Williams plays like a serious guy, and the other guy in the scene is quite feminine.
Oh, that's The Birdcage.
Birdcage.
Oh.
It's absolutely...
I've never heard of that one.
It's
that's what you said to me.
Absolutely brilliant.
Really?
It's a remake of the Casual Fall. But it's just spectacularly funny and brilliant acting.
Is it a 90s film, is it?
I'd say so, yeah.
Celtic Tiger.
Good times.
Yeah, so I think we picked Good Will Hunting. It was too iconic. That was okay because we recognised that. And now we're doing this house scene, and this therapist you're doing is very serious. He's very camp,
somber. He's a very practiced kind of guy.
It's very non-emotional, and then my guy is the exact opposite of that. So I think in a way it's hard for you as a theatre actor to be me so theatrical in the scene, and you can't
have to restrain yourself.
You have to restrain yourself.
But it's a great exercise. It's a really good discipline, to try and play yourself against character.
I feel like you could easily do both be really like over the top, and then also be kind of quiet and somber. I could see that.
Talking about over the top, it just reminded me. This is a true story. When I was in college, right here in UCC, I had a beard at one stage, right, and we were having a Christmas party, right, and it was fancy dress, right, and a friend of mine who was her father was very active in the theatre here in Cork. She got me the old dame's dress, with the all the padding in the right places and so on, and a blonde wig. And I was going as the bearded lady to this party, but I got into the car. I said I'd go out, and my brother was having a Christmas or a party out at his place, right, out in Wilton. So I got a taxi from outside the maternity ward of the Bonds.
Quite a sight, I'd say.
I hopped into the car and I could see the taxi driver looking at me in the rear view. And I just said to him, I know this hormone replacement therapy just isn't working. It was silence the entire way.
A bit shook, alright. Yeah, it's like, interesting.
That just like you could. If anything, that's great improv. As an actor, you're sitting down, and you could have easily been
just at the moment,
just nuts.
You could have easily been like, "Oh, sorry about this," but instead you were like, "Oh well, I'll just beat the car." That's so funny.
It's casual.
You can imagine the next passenger that is in the car. The story.
Not interesting, really.
Believe what I just saw.
Let me tell you now.
Imagine if you did. I know the scene shoots are designed to show casting directors what you can do. They're designed around our skills. Imagine if you did something like that. That is. You get there. You catch their eye anyway. That's a fact.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think with the scene, it's designed to show our skills and what we've learned for last year. I think it does well with you. I think because the subtlety and the, as you said, toning back, which means that all the acting comes from your eyes and your voice. There's no theatrics. I think that would work well for you.
Yeah.
So I know we were kind of contemplating which one should play the house character.
Yeah.
And then we eventually came that I would do it because I think your voice naturally would be a lot more calming, I just felt.
Yeah, and I feel every actor should try and find an opportunity to play against where their comfort zone is, because I mean that's what acting is. It's taking yourself. And it's very gratifying. You know, you may have to be coached and directed and all to do it, but geez, that's what you're there for. Like,
it's more exciting. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think because he asked us for quite a few times, and you get actors get asked this question anyway: what kind of actor are you? What kind of films do you make? And people put this label on themselves.
Yeah,
it's like that. This is I only make. Say if you asked Dwayne the Rock Johnson or these, Vin Diesel or these all these guys that do the Fast and Furious movies.
They're kind of playing themselves, really.
Big, massive, hard movies where they just punch walls and they get paid for it. Like those are the movies that suit them. Imagine them being in. What was he did a film, Dwayne Johnson, years ago. It flopped completely, but he had to play this really over-the-top emotional father where his family was falling apart.
I couldn't see them in Arthur Miller plays or anything, really. No, I don't think so.
That was his
starring Vin Diesel.
Any of the big actors, like Jared Leto's one I always look at.
Hit and miss.
He might be hit and miss, but in terms of the films he makes.
Yeah.
And Daniel Day-Lewis is another one.
Oh my God.
Just these actors that don't put themselves in the same category as a lot of actors do, where they're afraid. Not that they're afraid, but they know that they're successful in this category. They're just happy to make their money making these films with these characters. But it's always that great sign of an actor when they can jump from a musical to a Black Mirror, or something like that. You know, it's something that you rarely see only at the top level. To test yourself is the best thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So with this scene, I don't know if I like it.
Yeah.
I think because when I'm thinking the scene, I'm thinking the two of us. I'm not thinking of myself. If it works well between us, the scene will work out well.
But what I love is the speculation as to what when you're learning Meisner and all these techniques. You know, it's the journey that your character has had up to that point. What was going on right up to that point?
Yeah.
What's the reality that he's just come through? And you can be so inventive. You know.
Yeah, because with the scene, it doesn't have to be from the TV show. We can say that I've come from Iraq or something if we wanted to. It can be whoever we want to. So that puts our own creative aspect on it, and we can angle it towards what we feel we can do as best. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm good at this and this, but I have to get this over with because it's part of the scene, like that I know I'm not good at. You can angle every bit of good that you know you're good at and channel it into one scene. Yeah. It's hard to do, actually, because like this character, the one I'm playing at the end, has two different. He's got an ego, and then he's got his own personal
vulnerability,
and it's so hard to decide which one to go with. And then I said it to coach, I was like, can I do both? And he's like, you can, but it'll take effort. And I was like, how do you go about with both? You could just it's tough.
Yeah, it's about getting a balance, I suppose.
We're doing it tonight, so I was gonna make him offer. I'm just stressing here. I'm procrastinating by doing the podcast. I don't want to go near it.
This is just
can't get over how much effort you put into a thought that he puts into every single action. Not a mind character. It's pretty impressive.
Acting, he does. Everything else, no.
The Good Will Hunting one I had to.
Yeah.
Because of the bit before he breaks down, every little bit of movement there builds up to that moment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I was in the room by myself there.
He was like gradually opening a can of peas. You know, he was just
and then bang. It's actually because what you were isolating, so you weren't in the room. So there's the TV, there's Darren, and then there's like 5 or 10. I don't know how many people's in the course, but more than 10. All staring at me, and I'm just like, you have to. It's so hard to just say it, but you have to drown them out. You have to say, look, I'm the only one in the room here.
Yeah.
Or sorry, it's me and you in the room. And like I was saying in the last podcast, the last episode, you can only get that by consistently being in front of a camera.
Yeah.
You can't just come up and have no nerves at all. No actor has. Every actor at some point gets nervous before a take or after.
But if you're in the character, those people don't exist. You could have a circus going on around you, and you just don't know it's there.
So that the Good Will Hunting one. It's fun in the process, but when you're in the scene, it's damaging because then you come out the scene and you're like, I'm wiping away tears as he's giving me feedback, and it's like, fuck.
Do you find when you're like trying to do like a scene that's fairly well known or famous do you kind of find yourself kind of trying to
Reenacting.
reenact that or replicate
reproduce
that?
the other actor's performance.
That's the thing.
That's why
that's the danger.
That's
of
a
it.
big danger.
Yeah.
It is reenacting then.
Yeah.
I think with Good Will Hunting, I had the
It's acting rather than reenacting. That's what you're going for. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, easily done, like unintentionally as well.
Because it's played off so well. It's so iconic because it's such a good scene. You don't have to change anything, which is why he gave us the opportunity to say, if you want to rewrite the Good Will Hunting scene, you can. But if you rewrite it, the scene isn't as good because the scene is good because it's not rewritten. It's perfectly written.
You kind of have to do your own thing as well.
And I think he just said a scene that's not as iconic that people won't recognize. Now people can do their digging and find it, but I don't think they'd have the effort and time to do that. Good Will Hunting as well. I think it is a very much. No one in the class had seen it.
No, that doesn't.
That's
surprise
amazing.
Me. He turned around.
Well,
and said,
I haven't seen it either, but
he turned around and he said, "Had anyone seen Good Will Hunting?" And there's me like sobbing. Well, put my hand up like, "Yeah, I've seen it." Cause
you're probably one of the oldest in the class, and you're in your 20s. Like,
yeah, true. It's mad.
Kids in this class or what?
They're young.
There's been about.
They're very good, mind you. They're really
serious people in there. And a lot of them have gotten very good.
Yeah, they have. You could see the movement even over the few weeks.
The scene shoots we're doing at the moment, everybody getting up there. There's people that I'm looking at, I'm like, wow, they have come far.
Big time.
And then again, that comes from knowing the scene they're doing. You know, I think they've chosen scenes that represent what they can do best
to their strengths,
which means it shows that they're doing well. You know, now obviously everybody has stuff that they can work on. Like I feel like I can work on a lot of stuff with the technical side. I think I find that kind of difficult, but it's no harm to do what you know you're good at too.
Yeah.
So. Absolutely, yeah. But going back to like kind of replicating performances, I remember when I was doing Ernest, the big reference point, of course, was like Rupert Everett. He was in the film with Colin Firth, and I was kind of like going, oh, he's great in the role, but I was like, I don't think I could really do or replicate that. So like, you kind of have to try and shut all that off and kind of just try and do your own thing. Otherwise, you'll just be comparing yourself to them the whole time.
It's hard because the reason you're doing the scene in the first place is because you saw the other one.
So that's true. Put
your own swing on it. I didn't. We were actually debating. We were going to ask you to write us something for the scene.
Me?
Yes,
because we were
the first time hearing of this.
Because we were literally pitching out everything we could under the sun. We said, look, if Dave has the time, if he could, because you're doing script writing.
I did a bit.
But I think it'd be way too short notice. I think if you had to take us into account.
That is nothing like a
just
deadline.
write a scene.
Nothing like a deadline.
Nothing like a challenge. Yeah.
He's not even working up done by his own dough.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, just sitting around, just.
We were considering asking you, all right, but but like.
I'd happily done it.
We were also considering flying to the moon. That
kind of thing. Yeah.
One idea. We
go to Tahiti or something.
We were thinking of doing a scene from Fury up in Collins's barracks in a tank.
Oh, like the Brad Pitt tank film, is it? Oh, right.
Can you imagine the filming of that?
I'd be Shia LaBeouf and you'd be Brad Pitt.
The two fellas inside in the tank.
I'd be ripping out my teeth and everything for this fucking scene shoot.
You're way too method, man. You're way too method.
Because we said it. I remember Stella and Neve were next to us, and they had theirs planned out, and they were going to shoot it within like 15 minutes. They had very sad what they wanted to do. And they turned to us, and me and you turned around with like 700 ideas. We're like, okay, we're going to shoot in the barracks, or we're going to shoot it in, where is it, Coachford, or we're going to shoot on the moon. One of the three. And because he told us that he can't go outside. It's mainly based in Cork that they can travel to film it. And we were talking about going on J1s. And
fair enough.
If we filmed it outside New York, it would look so cool.
It's a grim movie, isn't it? Fury. It's one of those films you can appreciate. It's good, but
it's not like Saving Private Ryan.
No. But it is. You know, it's a real testament to the actors that they can really pull performances like that out and be so intimate with one another. I mean. There's a lot in it, you know.
I know, but as I said, ripping out the teeth, Shia LaBeouf did that to get ready for this.
I think Brad Pitt nearly punched him in the face over his method acting in that. I heard that.
Really?
Because he was like he wouldn't shower and some nonsense like that.
Yeah,
that kind of
shower
thing.
for weeks before and everything. But you have to respect the commitment to it. Like,
it's a limit. There's a limit though.
Is there though? I mean, if that's how much
is that even acting then? If you're like literally have to convince yourself you're the character, you're not really. I mean, that's a big philosophical debate there. But
I mean, but you'd have to admire the actor that can produce an authentic performance. By conjuring up their realism, that's.
But you know, he's an underrated actor, Chris Evans. I think. Captain America.
I don't think because I love Marvel.
But he's kind of the perfect example of that. You can see like bloopers and all that on set of him, like he's just goofing around. But then the minute the camera rolls, he's just stopped and he's kind of full serious. And he's really big into theatre as well. So
he does a lot of plays. What blows my mind as well, he does a lot of plays, and you see a lot of these big franchise actors. They're so tied down to their franchise movies that they actually don't have time to do films outside of it. So they do theatre, they do plays, so they can rehearse in and out of shooting the films. I know that, as you say, Chris Evans, a lot of these Marvel actors, they do plays in.
Hugh Jackman is another.
Back in
actor,
in their hometowns like Boston. Not necessarily anymore because we're not at the moment because of COVID, but how under the radar it goes. Because these are big name actors. These people can attract crowds if you put their name out there, and you slap their name on that play, the people will come and see them. And no one hears about it. Now maybe it's only a local thing. But it just shows that the people that to be honest, half these actors that you'd never expect big Marvel screen good looking actors. I thought they'd just be for good looking Marvel, being in these big franchise sci-fi green screen movies.
I mean,
not sci-fi, just big green screen movies.
I mean, I suppose you'd want a balance. I mean, as fun as it would be to be in those films, you'd probably get kind of, nauseated by being in a green screen the whole
$50
time.
million
kind of thing.
contracts.
Yeah, you'd be like, I kind of want to.
I'd be quite happy to suck that up.
Yeah, it'd be grand. Easy money, I suppose. Yeah, it'd be all right. But speaking of Hugh Jackman, like he seems like the nicest guy in Hollywood, like really genuine guy. But talking about incidents in theaters, there was he was doing a play with Daniel Craig. I think it was like a police detective thing.
Yeah.
Hugh
And
Jackman.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman. It was about 10 years ago, I think. And
that's because Chris Evans did
but someone's phone kept ringing during the production.
My brother, I bet you.
Tim's brother, yeah.
His brother from Ireland.
But
supposed to be on the podcast this morning, right?
Yeah, but he kind of had to. Because he was playing kind of one of these hard cops, and he kind of, there's video footage. Someone, a second person kind of recorded him getting kind of angry at the person whose phone went off, and he was kind of staying in character, being this kind of tough New York cop, and he was kind of saying, "Turn off your phone," kind of thing. And he can be kind of scary when he wants to be as well. Hugh Jackman.
There's a great scene. That whole kind of interruption. We've all seen the some of the real bad examples. I won't mention the actors, but there's one great one of I think it's Dustin Hoffman in, I think it's Midnight Cowboy, and he's crossing the road, and this taxi nearly runs him over. He says, "I'm walking here. I'm walking here." He really goes New York on this guy's accent. It's brilliant.
I'm walking here. Yeah, I think I know that. Yeah.
That's so funny. There was a guy we went skiing with back in school, and he had that exact accent. And it was like, what did he used to say? What was to say? Remember Wesley? We were in my group.
Wise guy.
He used to go around the entire time saying that when you were skiing. So you'd be skiing down a slope and he'd fly past you, and be like, "Wise guy, eh?
Funny how?
Funny how, huh?" Spare. Just make you want to go after and flip the back of his ski and go flying.
Probably my favourite film, Goodfellas. I love that one.
That's a good movie, alright.
I think
that'd be a good scene for you to do. I could see
the scene in the bar.
Yeah, it's well too. It's obviously it's a famous scene, but I could see you doing the funny house scene.
Funny how?
Yeah, funny how.
I make you laugh.
That's a gradual.
I amuse you. I make you laugh.
That's a gradual, because in that scene he knows he's being funny and there's no question, but he doesn't play it off as
no.
That was improv. You know that?
It was.
That was improv. And you could see really Otto's where's he going with this?
A lot of the Irishman was improv as well.
Was it? Yeah.
But like that, when De Niro and Pesci, they all have those connections that they can do it. Yeah. Like as I said before, if you know an actor, and so two actors are acting opposite each other, and one of them messes up, and you have to somehow get it back onto the map, onto the script. If you know each other well off screen, that's no problem. You know what kind of actor they are. You know if they're good with improv. If they're not good with improv, you can do all the talking and then steer it back on. If they're good with improv, you could just back and forth until one of you says the line. Yeah. So with Pesci and Al Pacino, it's just so natural for them that they could have a script and they'd be like, what if I say this? And then they could go for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I have a friend, he's nearly 80, I'd say. Gabriel Walsh is his name. He's probably the most he's probably the most successful screenwriter Irish screenwriter that you've never heard of, right? But he wrote a screenplay which was made into a film called Quaxer Fortunes. Got a cousin in the Bronx, starring Gene Wilder and Margot Kidder back in the 70s. and he went to school with Al Pacino. He knew Barando. He knows them. He introduced Jim Morrison to his wife Pam.
Oh my God!
I mean, it's crazy stories.
That's crazy.
The reason I mention him is Gabriel is all about taking the moment, and just making it. There's only one David Rowlands, right? Yeah. There's only one person can play this role like David Rowlands can play it, and just do it. It's really about being authentic to yourself,
absolutely,
and let the character then form from you.
Go from there. Then
it's like that little bit of being arrogant in what you can do, because sometimes actors have difficult to be like, if say you're doing a scene and the director says, the director would rarely ask you, what do you think would work best here, because he already has that idea. But having the courage to be like, I think this would work well because I can do it. Being able to just be confident in yourself, it's actually hard, because when a director gives you all these character details and tells you everything about the character, how he behaves, how he moves, everything like that, it's very hard to have any bit of freedom outside it. Now when it's written well, you've no problem, you love playing it. But if you feel something can work your way, if you change something about it, I feel like this could work better. Having that confidence to tell someone and say, okay, this will work better, and then pulling it off is huge. And it's hard to do. Like I very rarely say, oh, can I do this instead?
Did you ever play a role where literally the character literally walked through you, like it was like a Jim Henson moment, like you were just being manipulated by the character.
I feel like I'm becoming the character kind of thing.
Did you ever that happened to you? It happened to me once, I can tell you that.
All right.
When you say the character takes over,
literally you just
was this when the phone went off?
You're not the
not with
you're not the actor, but the character was so well written.
Right.
It just you just literally
clicked, became the character.
I don't think I've played a character written for me, but in the Good Will Hunting scene.
Yeah,
that bit when I was in tears, I was like, I didn't know if I was going to stop.
Well, no, that happened to me in with The Year the Hiker, John B. Keane. I played this character Joe, and oh my God, the writing is so good. It is unbelievably authentic, And there was one scene I was on the stage with the hiker who was an elderly man, and it was like we were actually those people, And it just took you there
in the moment,
And you come off stage and you're thinking,
what was that?
God,
Jesus! I watch interviews, because I watch interviews with actors, and they say sometimes it's not your job to feel the emotion; it's the audience's job.
Exactly. I've heard that. It's true too.
I think the only way they see emotion is the only way they feel emotion is if they see it coming from you. The only way they see it coming from you is if you're feeling it. So I think that there's this idea that you don't have to feel as much emotion as the audience do. But the audience are only getting that energy from you, so you have to. I feel.
Yeah.
So when you lose yourself in a character like I did, like I had my back turned to everybody, but no one said anything.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming.
But it's tremendously rewarding. I mean, that's why you do acting in the first place is to have even one experience like that.
It was weird because it's such an emotional scene, but I kind of felt at peace going home then in the car. It's like you're sitting on a cloud. Like that's what it actually is. Changing and you said then method acting isn't too much. I don't think it is. I think that's serious.
I'm not slanting method acting, but it's like, is it? It's almost kind of a different art form to acting, because you're literally becoming the character on stage and off stage.
You're not pretending you are.
Yeah, you can't just switch off when you're like cameras are stop rolling or you're off the stage kind of thing. So I don't know.
I think pretending. People say acting is pretending. Which it is in a way, but then when you say we talk about method and being the character in the third time, it looks good on camera, yes, it looks brilliant. But then outside it, it's like, is it worth that massive commitment from months before? Like, seen the interview with Joaquin Phoenix on what talk show? When he was method acting. And he came on as a totally different person, and the interviewer thought he was interviewing Joaquin Phoenix. He had the sunglasses.
Oh, that's right.
The beard.
He was doing his hip hop. That was brilliant. I'm Still Here, isn't it? Isn't that
something like that? But it was all an act.
Crazy though, and he'd be pure the actor that would do that too.
But there's I think it's a W.B. Yeats quote. Sounds really pretentious, but there's one. I just remember this line from a poem that we did in secondary school. And it was separating the dancer from the dance. That's really what you're talking about.
The crux of it. Yeah, that's the thing.
And is that you obviously you need to go home and just turn off the character.
Yeah.
But I mean, it should be a process.
A kind of a gradual kind of process.
I think even when as good as you think method acting, as you say, Shia LaBeouf did it for Fury. There has to be a point where they go home and they shower and they're in person. There's no way they're turning on that shower, or as you say, he didn't shower. There's no way he's going home and he's making breakfast and he's not himself.
Well, a lot of it is press. It's like, oh, look at me. Like, you hear stories about me method acting. I must be a great actor. And it builds up hype as well for the film.
Poor Daniel Day-Lewis must be sick to death of people probing that process.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with him. I actually bumped into him one day.
No way.
Yeah. It was in the...
I don't know how you'd recognise him.
Oh, yeah.
he's
Who are you today, Daniel?
Yeah. Did he have a top hat?
No, he was the most normal, humble gentleman that you could possibly meet. He was in an embassy, and he was doing his business, and I was going up to do mine, and literally I saw him, and I just said, no, I'm not going to say anything. This guy just deserves to be left alone, you know. And
I think there's a don't meet your heroes, but I don't think it was that kind of way. It was
he was just very normal kind of guy. But I'd say, you know,
he'd be kind of funny if you asked for a picture. He'd be like, no, can we just talk?
I wouldn't do that to him. I would never do that. You know, some people would. But
listen, you know all the celebrities. Why don't you just get them on here?
Huh?
My man's Al Pacino, Dan DeLewis.
Yeah.
Right. He knows them.
Great Graham Norton, band and local.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah.
We have we've only a few minutes left.
Right.
Did not fly. I said in the last episode the hour flies.
Sure.
Well, to be honest, I've covered everything and more that I wanted to ask you. But
we need to get a plug in for the next version or the next performance of The Importance of Being Earned.
Yeah, it's on the 8th to the 11th of September.
Yes, in the Cat Club.
In the Cat Club.
Cork Arts Theatre.
One of the rare opening bits of theatre now this year.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah, no, it's great to see, really. Coming back.
And we're going to miss you. We're going to miss you.
Thank you. I'm going to miss it too. It was a hard decision to make, but being in Dublin.
We had some crack doing
we really did.
Yeah, it's nice to do it for when they come away.
Lovely bunch of
we did. Oh, it was great. Probably the best time I've had in the theatre. Yeah, absolutely.
It was real kind of ensemble stuff, wasn't it?
It really was. Yeah. It was kind of hard. It was kind of weird. I remember moving to Dublin like not even a week after we finished that. I was like, just leaving Cork and you guys. It's strange.
Leaving the family.
Literally, kind of. Yeah. Both my theatre and.
It's been a pleasure, lads. Thanks again, Tim, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Dave, for not leaving.
Great to see you guys again.
I shall see you tonight anyway for my scene shoot.
Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow, Dave, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, I have to give him a spin home and everything, so just don't sleep in tomorrow and we'll be good. Alright, perfect guys, cheers.
Cheers guys.
Alright.